As Lieutenant Colonel West prepared his troops for their first deployment to Iraq in 2003, he knew the soldiers' families were counting on him.
The pre-deployment briefing was a very interesting moment for me because I was there with my wife Angela and my two daughters Aubrey and Austin, and we were there with all the other families of our soldiers as well as the extended family. And when you stand there and they're looking for one thing from you as the leader of this battalion, it's, are you the man that is going to do everything possible to bring back my son, my husband, my brother, my cousin back from this combat theater of operations in Iraq so that we can be with him once again. And that was the commitment that I gave to them on that day, the commitment which meant that I would also lay down my life for them.
Colonel West and his troops were stationed in a very tough area where violence against coalition forces was increasing.
Our mission was to basically show a presence. We were positioned just north of Baghdad, and we moved in sometime in April of 2003.
Colonel West and his unit made progress in restoring a sense of normalcy.
But all of a sudden we started to see a little uptick of ambushes and things of that nature. And we started to wonder what was starting to happen there. I knew that it was my responsibility as a commander to make sure that my soldiers were not subjected to another day of potential roadside ambushes and attacks, which we knew when the sun came up that was something that was definitely a very, very viable possibility.
Because Colonel West was so well respected in the town, I had, suggested to him one night to go speak to this Iraqi detainee who had information about a possible attack.
Colonel West assumed control of an interrogation which had been fruitless to that point, and as a result of that interrogation, in which no one was hurt, important information was extracted.
I just basically did something I thought was a matter of scaring an individual and threatening to shoot him. And at first he continued to stonewall me and tell me that he didn't know anything. So eventually we took him outside and I counted down and I fired my service Beretta 9mm over his head into a weapons clearing battle.
He went from that interrogation scene directly to his commander. He reported himself to his commander, gave a full report of what he had just done. He assumed full responsibility for those actions. And as a result of that, the Army charged him with minor infractions. He was sent to an Article 32 investigation, which is a fact-finding hearing only. It's not a court-martial.
No one can ever say that I tried to hide what I did. No one could ever say that I lied about what I did.
He was fined and given a written letter of reprimand. And upon his return to Fort Hood, Texas, after discussing this with Angela, his wife, he decided to put in his retirement papers. He voluntarily retired, and he was retired in the grade of Lieutenant Colonel.
But for that young man to risk his career, also to risk his family's livelihood, to save American soldiers, I can't think there's no higher honor than that.
The best way that I can describe Colonel Allen West is sacrifice. Colonel West gave me his body armor 2 weeks into being in Iraq. Didn't have to do that. I wouldn't know it, but a month later I'd get shot and wounded. Shot dead right in the center of the chest, and if it hadn't been for him sacrificing his body armor to give to me when he didn't have to do that, I probably wouldn't be here now.
Because of Colonel West's actions, I can honestly say that, I'm here today.
As I said in the hearing, when I was asked if I would have done this again, I clearly stated that if it's about the safety and the lives of my men, that I would go through hell with a gasoline can.